Welcome to Brain Wrestling. My name is Derek Christopher. Of course, I'm here with Walter Jacobson. Walter, before we begin, I need to make sure you're in the country legally because Jacobson, I don't know, is a little ethnic to me. So if you can produce your papers first, I would appreciate that.
I left them in my other pants. I'm
Did you?
sorry.
All right. So Trump won. You were right. He actually got more electoral votes than you thought he was going to get.
Yes, I was surprised by your prediction, but I guess there were a number of people who believed that she really had the momentum and the energy and the push. But yeah, but my impression was that Trump took a major hit when she showed up, but that he was slowly but surely, creeping along, and the numbers were trending in his direction. So that's why I thought it was going. Thought he was going to win. I didn't think it'd be as big of a sweep. I thought a couple of states up north, would turn on him because they were more progressive, like maybe Wisconsin or Minnesota or whatever that was. I forget now.
Was he really creeping along, or did he just have this momentum all the time? And like in 2016, no one saw it.
Oh, okay. So that's the interesting thing is the mainstream media in their desperation to alter reality, they actually do it in such a clumsy way that it backfires on them. So they wanted to make everybody think it was a close race and you got to get out there and vote and she's fantastic and you have nothing to worry about. I mean, in terms of the future, Hitler's not going to be around, but it's not true. And people have seen through their lies and their manipulation, which is why they're losing relevance.
Well, and now you're seeing the Democrats do what the Republicans did, that they're starting to implode. They're starting to eat each other. They're starting to try to blame each other. And you know what's going to happen in 4 years? Nothing. They're going to change absolutely nothing because I heard them talking about Adam Schiff being the nominee in 2028. I'm thinking like, Schiff is the same part of the same fucking establishment.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's definitely part of the problem, part of the people lying and and militarizing the secret agencies, et cetera, in order to like do the dirty work for everybody. Yeah. The only way it's going to change. I want to get back to your point. The only way it's going to change in 4 years is if they get rid of the people running the DNC, the people
Yeah.
who are making these decisions, these bad decisions. They don't know how to govern, and they really don't know how. They're old school politicians where they're just liars, period. And can't have
You
it.
got to hand it to the Republicans, man. They stuck to message. They had their guy and they stuck behind him, even though a lot of people didn't like him, but they saw it all the way through. And it was obviously the right strategy.
Absolutely. Kamala was completely off. Even if she was on her game, she was still off her game because she
Yeah.
was too insecure and inauthentic and afraid to ruffle feathers. So she was afraid to tell the truth about Joe and what she was going to do differently. Oh, I don't want to upset those people. And over here, I don't want to upset the Israeli people or the anti-Israeli people. So she couldn't be her own person. But she doesn't have the chops anyway. She really was one of these Peter Principle people who, through DEI or whatever, rose to the top. Never should have been there. Doesn't have the chops or the cred to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Now, what do you think about, Trump is going to the White House this week. He was invited by Biden, which was the polite thing to do, the proper thing to do. But one of the stumbling blocks now they're having with the transition is Trump and his people do not want to sign the ethics clause that says that they have to adhere to a certain standard of morals and ethics within this transition. They don't want to sign it. So it's postponing everything now. Why aren't they signing this?
Okay, well, all I can say I don't know why, but I would say is when somebody, an organization has revealed themselves to be underhanded and dirty tricksters and willing to like
No,
put
no,
you in,
no. But this is every incoming administration has to sign this.
why should he trust anything that they want to try to bind him to in a
And
contract?
it's not something the Democrats did. This is any administration that comes in has to sign these.
Look,
Don't you want to hold your elected officials up to a higher standard?
yes, but that's impossible, and it doesn't even matter what they sign or what they agree to because they're going to do whatever they want anyway.
So
But
why not just sign it?
well, probably because he doesn't trust them, and he perceives that this is a way for them to then use the fact that he signed it to muscle him in when they try to do a dirty trick later. Well, you signed this and you agreed to these ethic things. This is how evil they are. They're setting a trap for the guy, and he's not
Well,
falling for it.
Okay, let's go the other way. Now we're going to go through a list of everything Trump has promised, and you tell me how you think he's going to deliver it. He said he's going to cut taxes. How is he going to cut taxes? And who is he going to cut taxes for?
Well, I think he's going to cut taxes for everybody. But yeah, rich people are going to benefit from it. But I think he's going to cut taxes for everyone.
Now,
Yeah.
why does the middle class, why does the working Joe think that Trump can identify with him, is like one of him? Why do they think that he really gives a shit about him?
Okay, it's because the one thing that he's got that the Democratic Party and Biden and Harris and Obama, none of these people have anymore, is actual authenticity. Even if you think he's a fucking lunatic, I mean, the man
I
relates.
I agree.
He relates to people, and he says, and when he said, he'll say, that's a bunch of bullshit. And a politician, a president saying the word bullshit in front of a whole bunch of people, that's awful.
But the problem is, he really thinks they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. He believes this stuff. He hears it in one ear, and then he spews it out of his mouth
Look,
without
look,
actually even thinking about it or researching it.
I understand your concerns,
Yeah,
but you got to keep in mind that look, he's just a more transparent than other people. So the
no,
other
but
people.
is he? Why does he want to shift so many government workers under the executive control so he can fire and hire and fire them at his will?
Okay,
I mean, isn't that a danger to democracy?
well, sure, but the whole executive orders is a danger to democracy, and it's out of control. It should be used for special emergency situations only, and now they're using it to subvert the legislative process. So it's bad all around, but it's what
But he
everybody
he
does.
he also wants to have control over the Federal Reserve Board.
Look, the people look, don't panic. The people who have been running this, have been running it into the ground. That's the whole point. You want to continue to give these people power. You got to get rid of the DNC. Who's ever calling the shots, they need to go away. You do need fresh blood, but not stupid fresh blood. You need
Well,
smart.
but should Elon Musk really be talking to Zelensky at this point?
I,
Isn't that
I,
isn't that a bit premature that he hands the phone to Elon Musk? He's talking to Zelensky,
look,
trying to resolve the
is
conflict in
this
the
is this
Ukraine,
you?
and he,
Is
huh?
is this you? Is this you trying to unify what Joe said to turn down the dial on the anger?
Yeah, you know what? I'm giving him. Look, he's got 2 years before the next midterms because if he fucks it up during the midterms, by the midterms, they're just going to vote a bunch of Democrats in. This is a total replay of 2016 20 to 2018. I hope he can keep it in order. But actually, I want to pivot real quick because, in line with the Republicans and the conservatives having a bigger voice, one thing now that that's being voiced the concern about is that they're talking about changing no fault marriages to making it fault marriages. That you have to show that someone was at fault for a divorce to
Okay,
be granted.
this is so stupid, and it's such a distraction.
Why is that a distraction?
Well, the distraction is he's going to get us people, Americans on both sides of the table, arguing and fighting with each other over minuscule stuff, while all the other shit continues to
Is
go
that
on.
is that minuscule?
Well, it's not going to happen. Okay, they're not going to get rid
But
of.
you know what? There's already legislation being introduced in Nebraska, in Texas, in South Dakota, in Louisiana, in Alabama, and they're all empowered
You know
now
what?
because
You know what?
Trump has entered this manosphere
Look,
that I think Barron Trump was the one that got him in. He's pushing this sort of Joe Rogan, this macho kind of stuff, which is fine. But why would you attack women in the process? They already attacked Roe v. Wade. They already took that right away.
oh,
Why would you think? Why would you think they're not going to take the other rights away?
well, what about taking women's rights away in sports? Was that cool what they did?
No, but you know what? But here's the difference. When they found that a state went to a fault state, a state went from a fault to a no fault state, they found suicide within women went down 20%. So obviously there's a correlation. Now in sports, if you're going to tell me because Caitlyn Jenner wants to play whatever fucking sport that suicides in that sport are going to go up or down, bullshit. Totally different things. And the fact that you're even saying that is such bullshit.
Look. There's so many problems in our country. Now, if they were to switch this around and women were to get trampled on by the legal, court system for divorces, that would be horrible. I agree. But it seems to me in politics and government, et cetera, and world affairs that people have to make choices. So you have to choose: is abortion going to be my first choice for voting for somebody, or is it going to be the economy, or is it going to be the border? border. So I put this no fault divorce thing over down below. What's more important is that he actually start deporting criminals who are illegal aliens. Get rid
But
of
he
them.
didn't
Get them
even do
out of
that.
there.
I mean, Obama deported hundreds of thousands of more people than
Yeah,
Trump
but
ever
then
did.
Obama changed. Obama changed. He
No, he didn't. In 2012 alone, Obama deported over 420,000
yeah,
people.
and that way
That was the start of his second term. How do you think Trump? Where's Trump going to get $20,000 per person? You're talking about $20 billion for a
let's
million people.
let's
Where's he
let's
going to get the
let's
money?
where do you think he got the money for a Trump Tower? Who the fuck knows, man?
Yeah, yeah, but doesn't that concern you? I mean, so you're not going to tax tips, you're not going to tax overtime, you're not going to tax Social Security, but then somehow you're going to save Social Security and you're going to come up with $20 billion for every million people deported. Where is the money coming from? Why can't we be realistic about this fact? He's going to save the economy. How is he going to save the economy?
Well,
Who's he going to tax?
that's why he's bringing on board like Elon and Bobby J, so he can get more feedback from smart people.
You can get, but you can get feedback. They know how to run a company. A country is a different situation.
I think the United States is a corporation. I think it is.
It's not a corporation because, well, if it's a corporation, he bankrupted six of them. So you
Look,
really, this is the guy that you want running things and building the wall. How much of the? Let me ask you a question on the wall. How much of the wall do you think he actually built?
I don't know, 500 miles?
No, 80 miles, and then he fixed for about 400 miles worth.
Who
So
cares? Are
in
you
four
aware?
years,
Are you aware of what happened when Biden got rid of all the regulations that Trump
well,
put
Biden was a complete disaster when it comes to
and so
immigration.
the border is his fault.
But what is Trump going to do to change it? There are no specifics. He doesn't give a
Yeah, there
single
is a specific.
fucking specific.
Yeah, there is a specific. He's going to
What's
tell
the
Mexico
specific?
to keep the people in Mexico and not in our country while they're waiting for asylum to be processed. That's a big deal. Catch and
Yeah,
release.
those are good policies. There's no
Gonna get
doubt
rid
those are
of the,
good policies. But
yeah.
it doesn't fix the border problem.
Well, he one by one it will. First, you
But
got
why did he do this the first time?
it wasn't the
He had a
same thing.
Republican House, he had a Republican Senate, he had the White House. So for
Hey,
2 years,
people
he
weren't
had
pe
full control over everything.
people weren't coming here like they were when Joe Biden said, "Come on in, we'll take anybody. You don't have to get vetted."
There's there's no doubt that Biden was a disaster. Even fucking Obama told him he was a disaster on the border.
Yeah, well,
But
Obama's a disaster. Pelosi's a disaster. Schumer, Schiff, all these old school, old guard people have got to go. I mean, they really need to. It
I
was nice if
agree.
they would go gracefully and not stroke out first, but they got to go, man. And we got to get people who are honest, some integrity. It,
Oh, that's never good. I mean, this goes back to
what
America
about
has
this
no
guy?
hope.
What about the guy? This Josh Shapiro guy or whatever his name is.
Oh, out of Pennsylvania,
Yeah, is he
he's a
honest?
Democrat. You're okay with that?
If he's honest.
Yeah. Well, just like Youngkin is great as a Republican, I think Shapiro is great as a Democrat. There's young blood, and why we keep going back to these old fogies sitting in fucking wheelchairs that are losing their
You
mind,
know
whether it's
why?
Trump.
Because
Why?
there's deep state guys
Oh, it's not
in
Walter.
sunglasses knocking on
Walter.
their door. Wait a second. Let me
Walter.
finish. Let me finish. And
If
they're
the deep state existed,
knocking on their door, and they say, "Hey, buddy, keep your mouth shut about UFOs and moon landings and
oh
everything else,
God.
and get it
Well,
under your."
you think the moon landing was a conspiracy now?
I'm thinking it might be. I'm one of those
What
Joe Rogan, the toxic masculine men guys now.
what
Who knew?
what soundstage did they shoot that on?
Oh, I'm gonna guess I had kind of like a Warner Brothers Burbank look to it.
Okay, so I
I mean,
agree.
it would have
I
been
think
glitzier if Universal and Spielberg had done it,
well,
you know.
Spielberg could have sold it.
You know what's really funny is Spielberg was working on like the bio movie for the Democratic Convention for Joe. He was planning. He was doing this whole elaborate phony baloney story about I was born on a plantation. And then he had to scrub the whole thing. I love that. Okay.
You know who the precursor for that was? It was Clinton, a man from Hope. That video was unbelievable, and that was by I think the people that did Designing Women. Linda Bloodworth Thomason.
That's right. That's right.
They're the ones that started that
Man, it's
whole.
all show business, man. It's all show
Yeah,
business. And
and if
and Trump's a better showman. There you go.
By the way, real quick, I just want to go back to the no fault marriage. You know who was the person that instituted no fault marriage rules? What state it was, and who did it?
Don't tell me Kamala did it.
No,
Bruce Jenner. No.
1970, Ronald Reagan.
There you go.
Ronald Reagan, as a Republican in California, said, we need no fault marriage because so much time, money, attorneys, everything is wasted trying to argue. I mean, the fact that how do you prove somebody was physically abusive? How do you prove somebody was mentally
It's
abusive?
not going to go. They're not going to go backwards. We're going.
They went backwards on abortion.
No, they didn't. They just gave it to the states.
But that's going backwards. Why is a marriage federally protected but divorce isn't?
You know, I totally agree with you that women now, even with the no fault divorce, are getting shafted in courts because the guys usually have more money and can bully them around, man. It's bad news.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the concern about Trump, having these misogynistic guys and the Rogans and the Manoverse and all that stuff, is that it's going to start pushing women back into the corner. In fact, the days after the election, that's what people were tweeting. The woman belongs in the kitchen. She should be pregnant. She shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be doing that. We're walking
Right.
backwards.
Check.
Yeah. But also, so are you okay with all the black people getting text messages saying, we're going to pick you up so you can go pick cotton, and if you don't get there, we're going to kill you? I mean, this is the kind of shit that when Trump doesn't just say, hey, back off on the women, back off on the minorities, everybody thinks they have a free license to do and say whatever they want, and that becomes very dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really dangerous is that there is actually no place to go. I feel sorry for these celebrities who are going, if Trump wins, I'm getting out of the country. Yeah, that'd be great, but where? I mean, the lunatics are everywhere. Come on. And you're part of the problem. Anyway, you do geographic. I'm going to move to like Costa Rica and then my life will be better. No, you'll still be you. So think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But how are you going to protect the women? How are you going to protect the minorities when Trump
First we kick out all the trans men who are winning all the trophies. Get them out of there. Get them out of the equation. Get rid of pronouns. Let's put the trans in the proper place that it belongs in terms of the population. They shouldn't be getting 99% of the oxygen. It makes no sense.
If you saw the day after the election, there was a top Democrat strategist on CNN, and she was really pissed off. She says, we need to stop worrying about people's pronouns. We need to stop worrying about offending everybody. We need to stop, worrying about all these safe spaces and making people, worried about if they're feeling good or bad. We need to become back the party of common sense. That's why Trump won.
Absolutely, and the proof of that is if you happen to see a bunch of these TikTok young women and even men, some of these men like sobbing and crying, "My life is over," that's fucking pig, and this and that, and how we're doomed, and they have to now take this, as you mentioned, safe spaces in college. Let's take the day off so you can recover from your grief and. What? The hysteria is so huge, and the media continues to fan the flames of this.
But you know what? The hysteria works both ways, because 4 years ago, when the election was just as fair and square as it was this year, it was stolen. It was there. I mean, for weeks before this election, all we heard was it's going to be stolen. It's rigged. We see all these discrepancies. We see all these things. And all of a sudden, magically, Trump wins, and it's fine.
I figured it out. I figured it out.
What's that?
I figured it out. See,
let's hear it.
The deep state set this whole thing up so it would look like fair elections. So next cycle, when they totally stuff everything, we're going to be off guard and we're not going to know. And then boom.
It's really unbelievable that we are a fucking nation of crybabies, both sides.
Absolutely. Look, I was relieved when she didn't win, and not because Trump won, but because I really, as we've mentioned, I really do believe that the Democratic Party is a more insidious fascist organization at this point. Because
I disagree. I think they're both just as bad.
Okay, so that's why I was relieved when she lost, but the relief is very minor and very temporary. The Democrats common sense Democrats, and they exist. They've been manipulated by the media and by the DNC, and they need to rebel and say, no, no more where you pick the primary people. We pick the people. We have primaries.
Did you see the hypocrisy of Nancy Pelosi saying, well, if we had, more people to have a choice as to who we were going to pick, and we did it this and that, and she goes, I still think Kamala would have won. Bullshit. I mean, Nancy Pelosi threw Biden under the bus.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was the meeting with him and her that sealed the deal. And I think they basically said, we will humiliate you unless you get out of there.
No, I'm talking about 2 days ago. After the election, after Kamala lost, she said, well, Biden should have stepped down sooner. It's like, Nancy, you were right there. You were in the fucking mix to him face to face. And you're the one that sold this bullshit that he was totally fine and he could handle it.
Well, yeah, yeah. So, but what they're doing, the reason why they're doing this now, though, is it doesn't matter about her being a hypocrite and flip-flopping, because that's what she's done her whole life. But the purpose of this was simply to deflect blame off of Kamala in case she's a useful idiot in the future that they can manipulate and still get people to vote for.
She was dead in the water. She's not going to have any.
I would think so. Dan Quayle, say hello. Come on. Yeah.
Why do you think California? I mean, in 2016, Trump got 30% of the vote. 2024, Trump got 40% of the vote in California. The mayor of San Francisco was kicked out, who was a progressive. Gascon, the DA in Los Angeles, was kicked out. He's a progressive. Is California turning red?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so is New York. And so is the whole country, because they're tired of the bullshit, the lies and media manipulation. If the Democrats want to win, all they got to do is when Trump says, it's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry, and you decide to cut out the words in the auto industry and just say, see, he's talking about bloodbath and creating hysteria. If they stop doing that simple shit where we can see what he really said and we see that they're lying and manipulating, when we start trusting them again, I'll start voting for them again.
But it's, at some point, people need to be responsible for themselves. When you see a clip like that, you have to pay attention to where you're seeing it and maybe take 2 seconds to actually search out the full clip to see what the context was. Fox News lies, MSNBC lies, CNN lies.
I know, that's the problem. Lies. You're right. The confirmation bias is so huge that as soon as you see something that seems to be confirming your position, you're going to glom onto it. And you're not going to try to.
But if it's your ideology, you just consume it and you go crazy with it.
Yeah, you don't challenge it. And that's the problem. That was the old expression in the 60s: challenge authority, question authority. You got to.
Well, why can't we do that? You know what? The people are too stupid. People are too lazy. They don't want to do that anymore.
They're our audience. Come on, buddy.
Okay, let's wrap this up. What do you think the prediction is for the first year? How many illegals are going to be deported? Give me a number.
Oh, I'd say 5 million.
You think 5 million people are going to be deported?
That's my hope.
Okay, they're going to spend
is that a big number?
$100 billion.
Is that a big number?
That's a huge number. Where's the stock market going to be? Stock market's around what, 43,000 now. Where's the stock market going to be in a year?
46,000.
It's only going to go up 5%, you're thinking.
Well, he's just going to keep winning. Okay. You're going to get so tired of his winning.
I'm going to be exhausted from all the winning. Just like the winning he did in 2018, 2020, 2022.
Hey, he's still standing, buddy.
He's still, you know what? I got to tell you something. Trump earned my respect as I thought Mitch McConnell was a political animal. Donald Trump is a fucking political animal. He came back from the dead. I mean, this is a guy that had everything and everyone against him, and he did not give a shit. And this guy fucking resurrected himself like no one has ever seen. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had a good teacher, Roy Cohn.
Yeah, Roy Cohn, absolutely.
I'm telling you that I saw the movie The Apprentice, which is basically about him being Roy Cohn's apprentice. It's a kind of a twist on the show The Apprentice. Yeah. It has to do with him being apprentice and learning all these principles of Roy Cohn about how you win and how you always win. You always say you've won. You always deny. I mean, it's like incredibly great stuff.
Walter, I just want to say today I won. Everything I said was on point. Everybody agrees with me. Today I made the best arguments that I have ever made on brain wrestling. And
Is
the
this the
best.
Truman Show? The
They
Truman
were
Show?
beautiful. They were beautiful arguments, big, beautiful arguments. Everybody agreed. All this, I've heard from all the states. They all agree that I had the best arguments on today's episode, and we're just going to keep winning.
Well, okay. I just want to say one thing. You're wrong. I can't do anything
Safe
else.
space. Yeah.
No, I have the best arguments of all time. And God created me to give you the truth.
You're the best. You are Jesus. You are Mohammed.
Absolutely. In a past life.
Well, you know what? I can't top that. All right. Anything else?
Bless you, my son.
All right. On behalf of Walter Jacobson, I am Derek Christopher. Thanks for watching Brain Wrestling, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Keep wrestling. Bye-bye.
I don't know what they have to say. It makes no difference anyway. Whatever it is, I'm against it. No matter what it is or who commenced it, I'm against it.